Well, I don't even know where to start. First of all, it's so good to be back with you, and
Thank you.
I really enjoy it. And I want to, if I could, I want to bring everybody back to earth just for a moment. I mean, I don't say that disparagingly, but everybody's losing their minds regarding everything regarding Diddy. I mean, seriously, each person is trying to say, "Well, I've got to top that last one, and I'm going to top that one, and I know who it is." Like, wait a minute, hold it. You don't know anything yet. You don't know. We don't know anything yet. I was watching just through the course of this something on some show, and they said, "And now let's go to the interview with Bow Wow." And Bow Wow, what do you think, Bow? I'm thinking, Bow Wow, what are we talking about? Who are the 2 weeks ago? Who are these people? What do they know? And a lot of it is gibberish. Okay, but let's just get down to square one. Shaun, we don't know anything yet. And I'm telling you right now, if I represented Diddy, I would sit back and say, let him come on. Let the avalanche begin. And the first thing I would do is say, anything else? Anybody else? Anybody else? How about the city of Evanston, Illinois? Would you like to join it? Who are these people? They smell blood. This is what I would say. They're going after this every single day. The oil and what's in the oil and the anal application. Oh, bring it on. And I'm telling, and everybody out now, listen, with all due respect, and not you, my brother, not you, but a lot of folks feel that they sense something and that they have to say something. Look, the bottom line is simply this. And let me ask you a question, and your wonderful viewers. Where is Diddy safer? In jail or outside?
Ooh,
That's
I
a tough
reckon
one.
if you're in jail, you're a sitting duck.
Do you think they're stupid enough to do something after Epstein again? Do you really think so? I mean, maybe they do. But do you think they would sit there and say, oh, come on, please? I mean, you did this. I mean, we'll give you a one shot. You know, it's like one bite at the apple. We'll give you, there used to be this thing called the one bite rule. Everybody in common law was entitled to have their dog bite one person because you were never put on notice that your dog had a propensity for biting. After that, that was it. So everybody's got their one bite rule. Okay, all right, we'll give you Epstein. All right, okay, yeah. But two?
Well,
I mean, true about this. Right now, how many people do you have in current federal custody? 10,000. And how many have committed suicide? None. Thank you very much. Except these two people, please. So ask yourself, come on, Shaun. You think they're going to do it again? I say, believe it or not, he's safer in jail.
Well, they did with Jean-Luc Brunel, but he was in France.
Yeah. Have you noticed the defenestrations a lot lately? We see them here in New York. A lot of this out the window business. Sometimes they go through various themes. But let me go back to this. Let's keep on track. Attwood, keep on track, you crazy bastard, you. This is, let's step back. You and I are going to be detectives. We've just been assigned this case. First question is, if something, God forbid, and we're not suggesting this in any way, but if something ever happened, God forbid, that all of a sudden they say, hey, guess what? Diddy, he's dead. What happened? I don't know. It's a heart attack, the stress. Huh? How many people would say, wait a minute, I don't believe this. I don't believe this. I don't believe what's going on here. We better get to the bottom of this. We want a coroner's inquest. Nobody'd say anything. They'd say, well, you know what it was. We had a guy in this country named Antonin Scalia, the most conservative Supreme Court justice in the history of our country. And they found him basically dead in some Illuminati hunting lodge with a pillow on his head. And nobody did anything. His wife's on the phone. They did an autopsy on the phone. I said, oh, he was fat. Okay. Nobody cared. The days, I don't know if you ever saw this, but the days of Quincy are over. Jack Klugman, that's over. There's no, CSI. We love this. There's no CSI. Nobody investigates anything. Nobody does it. So, but as one of your callers, look at this. They tried to get Trump 3 times. Tried 3 times with Trump. Well, once for sure. The second one was, I don't know what that was. Attempted what? He put a gun on the thing. He stopped. He got there. I don't know what that was. And then the third one was, well, maybe, but nothing gets past me. But let's go back to what I'm saying. If anything happened to him, question number one, is anybody going to investigate this? No. Put your thinking cap on. Imagine one day, tomorrow, boom, that's it. And guess what happens to the case? You want to go after his estate? Go ahead. You want to take your 120, 130 plaintiffs? Go ahead. Pick it apart. Who owns what? He didn't own anything. By the time they go through the mortgages and this, what does he own? What is it? His music catalog may be great. Split that up among whatever it is. Good for you. Come on. This guy was, and what about the Diageo business? By the way, check this out. I love when people do the clip or whatever it is, and the voice recognition tries to figure out what Diageo is, and you read these names. So here's this story. This is my favorite. Everything was great until he went after Diageo. Then they say, that's it. How dare you sue us? Come on. Now, seriously. They're gonna go through all this. They're gonna whack them because they got a lawsuit from this guy. Say, what? See, I love the way there's conspiracy theorists, and then there are people who say things without any practical application. Can you imagine the board meeting? Okay, folks, we're gonna vote on whacking Diddy. Anybody? Wait a minute. Why are we doing this again? Because he brought the lawsuit. We got 20 million lawsuits. Hell, they know us. So what are we gonna do? To teach the next Black rap artists that who's going to want to deal with us after we're done? What are you talking about?
People so Lionel, what's your theory then on the timing of why Diddy is being brought down? Because this has been going on for so long.
Anytime anything happens, the timing is unique if you look at the timing. I mean, it was 3 months after. It was a year after. It was 5 years after. It was after the cat. And who let that Cassie tape out? I don't know. How did they know? And why is this federal and not state? Anytime you ask a question, why now? Why Friday? Why is this? And why is Oprah quiet? I just threw that out. The point is, you can ask anything you want. Listen, conspiracies are great. I'm a conspiracy, theorist. An analyst and not a theorist, as Gore Vidal said, and I understand this, but let's just back up a little bit. Diddy is sitting back, probably waiting now. He says, bring more on. I can't sift through this. I can't even, people are going to say, wait a minute, who? And then we have every group of monosyllabic cretin coming out, spewing this, what? Have you heard who are these people? Who everybody now says, if I go on TMZ, baby, I can. Who are you? I'm a old, dirty, snuffy, bow wow bastard. Who? I just made it up. I don't know. And then you're on, and then you're giving your theory. And the people are saying, wow, people are now opining about things they know nothing about. And some of them kind of make sense, but it's a plausible intro to this. But let me ask the question, and I wish somebody would do this. And maybe, just maybe, the first question I would say is, excuse me, where did this Cassie video come from? Who had that? Where did you get that from? Where did this come from? Nobody's seen this. Diddy, did you have that? I didn't see that. Do you have a copy of this in your collection? That's the last thing I want to have in my collection. Where did this come from? And maybe you can argue the timing. I'm just curious. Who has these? Where did this come from? Let's do this. And they're going to claim, First Amendment, media, privilege. Okay, fine. But that is the least of his problems. That is the least of it. But it's a question of, where did this come from? And all I want to do is either confuse a jury or have them say, what the hell is this? And just have Shaun sit there and say, this is what happens when a black man gets famous. Look what they do. Look what they do. I file a lawsuit because I thought it was legitimate. I thought whatever it is, and I mean, and this is what happens. Maybe that argument makes sense. Then other people will say, my particular thing is, why would you unleash this torrent, this tsunami, because of a lawsuit? Sometimes, if you just wait long enough, stuff happens. And I know, because in our look, Shaun, you and I know that we live in a world of, and I hate to say this, people who love, and I hate this word, conspiracies. All right. Okay. But it's not just a conspiracy. It's almost like something's fishy going on. And we like this. And one of the things we love is it's a distraction. That's what this is. It's a distraction. Whenever you don't know what to do, you say it's a distraction. I always call it the rodeo clown. In bull riding, the rodeo clown is the one who distracts the bull when the rider is down. The one guy goes out there and says, hey, over here. The bravest man in the world who tells the charging bull, come at me and get away from this guy. Maybe that's true. Maybe that's not. But there is, how do we say this? Well, this is good. This is not about race. He's gotten away with crimes for 30 years or more. Okay. Now let me ask you something. I'm gonna ask you a question. How do you know what crimes he's gotten away with? How? We have lawsuits, we have complaints filed, and we have an indictment. Do we have any finality to this? Listen, I would tell Miss Lady, I'll probably go with you 100%. I'm thinking to myself, where there's smoke, there's fire. I'm not an idiot. But just remember, what do we know about this? What do we know about the lawsuits? What do we know about the proof of this?
But look at Epstein, how long he got away with it. And that's because he was mixing with the elites and he was protected by the club.
Got away with what? He never went to trial. I don't know what he got away with. Where's the videos? Look, listen, I don't want you or your wonderful groups to sit there and say, what the hell is this guy talking about? Is he one of us or not? I'm telling you, I know this business. And you think things are real easy? Look at O.J. Simpson. You want to go through this? I mean, do you want to sit here and look at the Menendez brothers? How all of a sudden they're saying, hey, wait a minute. You mean that maybe the parents were sexually abusing him? That's what we've been saying. Oh, why now? What happened now? I don't know. I can ask why now about everything. I don't get this. This is not about race yet. Well, not about race. Well, first of all, if it's about race with a group of people that are 100% black, with the exception of Bieber, I don't think it's about race either. If it is, it's the most one-sided thing there is. By the way, the Bieber video, that's the one that I'm fascinated by. The 48 hours. Oh, let me just now again, we don't know. This is a video, but Shaun, I don't know about you, but do you have any 48 hour videos with 15-year-old boys who say, well, I don't have legal guardianship to you? What? I don't own you like chattel slavery. I don't own you yet. But I don't know if we talked about this before, but I'm going to say it again. And this may or may not have anything to do with Diddy, but think about this. Real child predators, the real bad guys, are into grooming. And grooming is a word, it's like the word pedophile. Pedophile is not the word. That's not the word, because there are pedophiles who actually don't do anything. There are enophiles who stop drinking.
We use PDF file just for the algorithm.
Okay.
PDF file.
Right. Well, there's other ones too. There's chronophiles. There's hebophiles. There's ephebophiles. There's gerontophiles, people who have interest in older people. You don't see too many of those, but they're out there as well. But going back to this, a real predator with children in particular, they want to seduce the child. They want the child to love them. They're patient. They don't jump out of a white, van and pull them in. I mean, some do, but that's not what they want. This is about ownership. and control and domination, and seeing this, look at Bieber's face, like, oh, is this mine? Yeah, one day you'll be there next year. This thing about ownership and enticement. Do you love me now? Am I yours? Yes, I do. Good. I want to own you. I want to own your heart and your soul, and I want your innocence. And when I saw that, it reminded me of every sick bastard we ever prosecuted. The real hardcores, the little league coaches and the scout leaders and the priests and the people who use their position of authority to pull kids in. See, that's a separate and distinct from the freak offs. But I want every parent, and by the way, I'm going to say this again right now. My wife at Lynn's Warriors talks about this all the time. And what she has endorsed, and I'm saying as well, is this. That's Lynn's Warriors on YouTube. We have to inoculate and vaccinate children. We have to tell them. See, a lot of times parents, Shaun, don't want to tell their kids about this because they don't want to ruin their little innocence, which is what these sick bastards want. And you've got to tell people, you got to tell kids so that one day your child will say, oh, I know what this is. This is grooming. What? I know what you're doing. See ya. And that's what we need to do. We have to explain this. That was so funny. How I know this is a good show and it's YouTube, but do you know that the other day I was talking to someone, I'm not going to mention who. We have the mentality of a 3-year-old, and somebody was talking about the introduction of certain drugs and certain narcotics anally or in ointment or whatever it is. And people couldn't get past that. They couldn't get past the whole thing. During the AIDS epidemic, when we were trying to explain to people why certain forms of high-risk sexual behavior were more amenable to the transmission of HIV and the like, people got so hung up on it that they missed the point, because we have the sophistication and the sexual literacy of a child. Listen to what goes on. I mean, this is, if you really, either you want to get into this subject or you don't. And the first thing you got to do is separate them. There's about 9 different stories here. There's the freak offs. There's the individuals. Now, going back to another thing too, I want to just one more thing about the Bieber thing. That's the part. I don't know what happened. I don't know anything about this. He's denied it. Whoever denied it. We always have to say this. Everybody, the presumption of innocence. But I got to tell you something. It broke my heart to see anybody with a 15-year-old kid. It's like anybody, I would say you're a sick bastard. First of all, if you are so bereft of adult friends and you want to film it or tape it. And Shaun, because we haven't even talked about them cats and dogs yet in Springfield. We'll do that too, buddy. But anyway, but at that time, I don't know what kind of equipment they had, but something tells me that wasn't on a good phone. So meaning that video recording was not as ubiquitous as it is now. So that means they were going out of their way to record this. Why would you want evidence of this? It's this idea that I'm invincible. I'm invisible. I'm Diddy. I don't have to worry about, I don't care how this looks. I'm Diddy. That's all. I missed that.
Lionel, I'm going to rehash that. There's a lot of people in the chat who are not familiar with your brilliant work and your channel and your qualifications.
Whose fault is that?
Can you enlighten them, please?
It's your fault. Let me tell you something, Attwood. I told you last time. I told you my terms. Okay, here's the story. I'm at Lionel Nation YouTube. Okay, I'm still going over what we had last night, where we had our presidential candidate one day, which was the greatest thing.
They want to know your credentials, your experience.
My credentials. I am a former prosecutor. I am a licensed trial lawyer in the United States, and I'm licensed for federal court, member of the Supreme Court bar. I've been a lawyer for 41 years and have done criminal and you name it. And I know the system, and I know I've also been in talk radio since 88, and actually talk radio when it was terrestrial talk radio. I used to do morning drive at WABC. I worked with Rush Limbaugh. I was around forever, saw that iteration change and the like. So anyway, in any event, and look at this. But I've got my people. I was telling you about yours as well. So anyway, so I know the legal thing, and what I want to tell you is, if you want to talk about the detective part, oh yeah, that's one thing. That's probable cause. Let's go after him. This guy looks no good. That guy's a perp. There's something fishy. If you want to go in front of a trial and prove in front of a jury, good luck. That's another story. That's a completely different story. And we love, for so many of us, we have been lied to by everyone. Listen, let me just tell you something. My wife and I were here on September the 11th, 2001, on a Tuesday morning. I will never, that was my red pill moment. I've never been the same, because what I saw, and what I saw the press suggest, they have nothing to do with each other. I've never seen anything like it. And I cannot believe how compliant people are. They're compliant. We sit there and we nod, and we completely throw away our common sense. It's the most incredible thing in the world. And they laugh at us. They call us crazy. And we're not. There's some things that we say, well, that's whatever it is. You only take flack when you're over the target. If you ever want to see if you're correct, just look at what's happening. And let me also go back to one thing. There's two industries, I think we talked about it last time, that especially we're learning about. Two huge industries. It's called human trafficking, sex trafficking, and extortion. Now, for the longest time, nobody understood what a bunch of degenerates there were in the hip-hop industry. Hip-hop and rap and music. Degenerates. Loathsome lowlives. People who can barely string together a sentence, who for some particular reason all of a sudden found themselves overnight millionaires. Okay, fine. This is not just contained only within the hip-hop or rap or black music. It's been going around since Charlie Chaplin, whatever it is. So nobody really cared about that. And people said, oh, whatever it is. And you saw this, and you saw Diddy, who basically told everybody, hey, look at me. I got a white party. Hey, look at j.lo. Hey, look at this. And the freak-offs became more and more and more and more of a problem. Nobody cared. They were going on the whole time. People were saying, people who barely got away, say, well, that's whatever it is. And everybody's kind of happy. All of a sudden, for one reason, we said, hey, look, and we're peeling the scab off of this pustule, this purulent herpetic lesion, and we're seeing, oh my God, these are degenerates like you cannot believe. This is something, and it draws them in. And if you want to hang with Diddy, you better get your freak on. You better show people that you can hang with us, right? Right. And that's going to be his defense. He's going to say, I had people breaking down the door to come to my parties. This one over here, who supposedly was attacked by me, she came back 3 or 4 times. Look, I've got pictures of her. Look at Harvey Weinstein. Look what they did to Harvey Weinstein. I mean, this guy was friends with half of the Academy Award winners. He delivered. You did something to him, you got an Academy Award, and they brought him down. And this guy, Diddy, you think he's anything? You think he's anything? And see, here's the best part too. Remember this. Remember. I don't know what we're going to call this, but remember when Al Capone, the famous Al Capone, every now and then he would say, arrest me. Why? Just make it look like we're doing something. Every now and then, hey, we cleaned up Diddy. Yeah, everything's okay. Everything's good. All you guys okay? We're okay at the entertainment. Okay at our label. Okay over here. You all right? Yep. Diddy's gone. Everything's fine. Thanks. We're okay now. Nothing to worry about. Make him the sacrificial lamb. go after him, throw him under the bus, and then us people say, okay, we're tired of this. Now, who's the next one? Bow Wow. I love that. Who's an old dirty bastard? One of my favorite names. He comes along, Fitty Diddy Titty, whatever comes up next. He does the same thing, and we're saying, oh God, not that again. We've had enough of that. So the next one can get away with it even more. So it's going to rise to surpass that Diddy level of sick. You understand that? It's sick. And I also, let me explain something to you as well. And by the way, Shaun, please let me get a word in. God damn it, man. Just let me say something. I love you. Seriously. There is some people call it Satan Adam, but there is this evil. It's like a yeast infection. Hey, ladies, ever take antibiotics? All of a sudden, this fungating thing is growing. You kill off the good bacteria. There's other stuff. There's lactobacillus. Okay, Monilla candidiasis. That's what happens with these people. Underneath society, there are these vermin, these vile hominids, these predatory, sick bastards, these loathsome, and they're kind of kept down. We kind of heard about them, but society or whatever, decorum or the police or whatever, and then all of a sudden something happens and they pop through and we think, oh my God, and they're all over the place. And it becomes so, if you listed everybody who was involved in one way or another in this, you would need Wembley Stadium to fill this people. This is all over the place. And not only that, I don't know what you call it in your country, but we call it here Child Protective Services, foster care, schools, churches, little leagues. There is a level of predation for people and children that are so, people don't want to think this. I live not too far from Times Square. And if I said, come here, Shaun, put these glasses on. Everybody who's ever had anything sexually untoward happen to them, anybody who's ever seen something, felt weird, or flat out victimized and terrorized, they're going to have a little halo over them. Here, put on these glasses and you can see this halo. You would be amazed. Everywhere you would go, somebody somewhere had something that happened to them. Nobody listened to them, or they were afraid, or nobody believed. It's sick. I don't know what's wrong with it. Do you have a little dog or a pet or something?
I've got baby Ziggy.
Okay, well, baby Ziggy, that beautiful baby. Protect Ziggy. Animals don't do this to each other. Birds don't do this. We're supposedly the top of the food chain. We are predators. We're sick bastards. And the reason why is because we don't have heat cycles. We don't have estrus. We don't literally have a boner where they bone in our phallus. We go into things like, oh, we have associations and libido, and we're into fetishes and connections in Pavlov. We're weird. We don't, our sex is not merely to procreate or for self-pleasure or to give pleasure, but it's to sublimate and objectify and torture and it's weird. It's like it's a weapon. And these people give rise to more people, hurt people. And right now we're seeing, and then you take these people who are monosyllabic, basically semi-literate, homozygotic, inbred cretins, Boeotians, give them some marginal talent, give them $1 million, let them hang around other semi-literate, marginally, and all of a sudden they get their freak on. And then in order to be a member of the club, you have to show somebody else how sick you are. And it just keeps propagating. And then some poor, stupid kid or girl or whatever who wants to get into the business walks in, and guess what happens? It's over. And then they got her on film. Or she gets an STD. Oh, wait till the STD case. Oh, wait till those lawsuits come about. Oh my God. Especially in states where it is a criminal offense for you not to warn someone or to have unprotected sex with somebody when you know you, and we're not talking just herpes. AIDS is not over with. People think that's a thing of the past. Not even close. But you need proof. You need proof. I mean, I'm all for getting these people, but I don't want to get, somebody's on talking to Harvey Levin, and I'm supposed to run for the goalpost with that. I need proof. I need somebody, and I need a jury or somebody to believe me.
We are with Lionel. He is pausing for coffee, folks. His link for his channel is in the description box. You can stalk him on Twitter.
At Lionel Nation. Yes, sir.
Lionel Media on Twitter. Get your questions in the chat. Call him to account. He loves it. We're not all singing from the same hymn sheet here. So let him have it, folks. Get your rotten apples and tomatoes and carrots.
Whatever you want. No, listen, I don't want somebody to sit there and nod their head in some kind of a mindless approbation. I think we are on the same page. There is nothing I disagree with. All I'm saying is I want to nail these bastards. I want to crucify them if I can do it, if I can prove it. Oh, I have no problem. Oh, you have no idea. Shaun, I want to get medieval. I want to do stuff I'm serious. I want stuff that punches Pilate would say, okay, that's enough. That's enough. But I got to prove it. I've got to do something. I've got to do something that might indicate, probative value.
The most common question, Lionel, drawing on your prosecutorial experience, is how do you think the Diddy case is going to pan out?
Well, it'll probably be a plea of some sort. Number one, he doesn't have nobody. Do you know what kind of a case? I mean, if he had all the money in the world, which he doesn't, but if he did, let's say he had Bill Gates money, I would love to say, let's tee it up. Let's go. Let's have a case. There are mafia cases that we had that went on for years. This one could be decades. 120. Let's take victim number one. I want to confront the witness. Sixth Amendment. We have the Sixth Amendment Constitution. Sixth Amendment to our Constitution. The Confrontation Clause. I have the right to confront my accuser. I have the right to know who my accuser is. I've got due process. I want to know what did you say? When did you say it? And I want to talk to you. I want to find out about your impeachment, your motivation, who promised you. Are you going to do a book deal? Who is helping you? Who is behind this? It's called impeachment. That's all. That's number one. I'm not even done yet. And have somebody. Now this is terrible. I personally have in my own morality. I will never, ever, ever, or would never cross-examine a person that I thought was truly a victim of this. Never, because I'm going to catch him up with something. I mean, I could say, for example, Shaun, do you remember talking to me last time on this thing? Yeah. What was I wearing? Oh, you don't remember? It didn't happen, did it? It's like, no, I just don't remember what you wore. So we can play this cross-examination stuff. I can't do this to somebody who I think really was hurt. But if you're lying, oh, you're mine. Oh, you're mine. Because if somebody's going to lie and put me through this and this, oh, no. But assuming each person. So, Shaun Attwood, you claimed you went to a Diddy party. How many times did you go? Well, it's funny. I've got this list here. Did you know we have a list here of all of the guests? And you were here on the 15th, the 30th, the 24th. Is that you standing there? Is this a note? Is this a text you have? Because I have all the texts and all the discovery. Thank you, Diddy, for a great time. Love it, man. Keep a freak of it more and more and more. And this is you. So let me ask you something now. Are you lying then or were you lying now? Because according to this is the worst experience of your life that you begged to come back to 10 times. For example, I've got somebody else who will testify directly who can impeach you. Who says, I was there. Shaun wasn't there. Or Shaun brought me there. Or Shaun told me the next day he had the time of his life. Or Shaun picked up the phone and said, hey, listen, here's a great way to make a buck. Get on the Diddy lawsuit train. Because I don't know if you probably don't have this in your country, but we have this all the time. Have you been injured? Do you want to be injured? Can you pronounce injured? Call me. Have you been in an accident? Have you thought about being in an accident? Call me. We have these 1-800 injured. We have these all the time. Are you an asbestos? Did you take the Dalkin Shield? Were you were hernia vaginal mesh? Did you take this pill? Did you see this doctor? Call us. We live in a very litigious society. So now we have these people. Have you been to a Diddy party? Can you pronounce Diddy? Call 800 Diddy or didn't he? Operators are standing by. Call him back right now. Be a plaintiff. Big money. We're going to have commercials next. I bought my new boat with the money I got from the Diddy settlement. That's right. Did you ever hear a Diddy song and didn't like it? Call me. I don't care. We're going to have so many plays. It's going to be like a class action. Thousands of people will divvy it up. I get a gazillion dollars because I'm the main trial lawyer, and you'll get something. We'll apportion it after we figure out what properties he has left, mortgaged to the hilt. Because remember, banks get satisfied first. Whatever's left over, good for you. So I mean, that's the civil part. Let me explain this. In our system, I'm sure the same for you. We have civil and we have criminal. Criminal is you want justice in jail. It's the United States of America versus Shaun Attwood. It's the people of New York versus, it's either state or federal versus you. And in that case, the government is the victim. The state is the victim. The United States is the victim. You are a witness to our victimization. You might have been shot. You might have been killed. But really, we were. That's a criminal charge. And we want justice. We are the plaintiffs, not you. A lot of times women will find out when they have some husband beats them up and she goes to the police the next day and says, I want to drop charge. They go, no. You're just a witness. The victim is the state of whatever it is. That's criminal. Civil is so-and-so, Jane Doe versus Shaun Attwood. And I want money. And I want everything you've got. I want your dreams. I want your heart. I want your breath. I want everything you own. I want money. It's money. There's no jail involved. There's no prison. It's just money. Now, the two kind of work kind of hand in hand. The civil lawyer will say, let the prosecution play out because I'll get all the good information. I got the FBI involved. I'll use all their investigative stuff. I'll find out that'll help me. Then here's the best part. Let's say that I represent, God forbid, Diddy, and Shaun, you make a deal and you say, okay, I want to make a deal with you. All right. If you pay me $1 million, I will drop any claims against you. Okay. Well, Shaun, how are you going to help me in the criminal trial? What do you mean? Well, why would I settle with you for $1 million when they're going to put me away for life? Well, I can call the prosecutor. Good luck. Hello, Mr. Prosecutor. Yes, my name is yes, Shaun. Yes, I'm a victim of this. Would you stop prosecuting him so that I can settle my case? No. Well, you see, if you prosecute Diddy and he spends the rest of his life, he has no incentive to settle with me. Uh-huh. And your point is, no. People forget this. They think that somehow everybody's going to be happy. So make up your mind. Do you want me behind bars or do you want me to be working for the rest of my life to pay back these people that I victimized? Can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways.
All right, I've got a question on this, Lionel. Slow down. So,
down.
If say a lawyer like Busby
Mhm.
settles civilly with a famous person, but he's already released that there's an allegation that could be a crime, can the feds then force Busby to reveal who that person was based on the evidence or the allegation or the witness testimony?
Better yet. Let's say you're just this Jane Doe and Jane Doe settles. And the prosecutor wants to go to Busby and says, listen, I want to find out who this person was. Jane Doe number 123. There was something about a satanic thing here in the chupacabra and goats. Yeah, we like this one. Well, I'd rather not. What do you mean rather not? Well, we made an agreement. You made an agreement? I'm the federal government. We go to war. We print money. You know who I am? What are you talking about? So that's an excellent point of view. That's this idea about what's the incentive? And if Diddy were to really say, you know what? I was all set to just say, you know what? I'm going to liquidate everything. I'm going to become a Trappist monk. I'm going to live on top of a mountain and I'm going to take every single thing that I have, liquidate it and give it to all you people. But you know what? I'm not going to do that anymore because they want to put me away forever. And now all of my resources have to go to bed. So sorry, go talk to the federal government about that. Not me. But you see, that's the thing. And let me ask you, and you know a little bit about this. What does this justice mean? What does that mean? What does justice mean? Does
Goes back to
anybody,
Socrates. Goes
huh?
back to Socrates, doesn't it? Didn't Socrates have a dialogue on justice?
I will never know. Like Richard Pryor said, you go to court and you find is justice just us. It's this, it's this imaginary sense that you're made whole again. You're not. You're not. And let me tell you something. What really freaks me out more than anything, makes me angry. As soon as I hear kids, one more time, I'm going to say that to you. My wife on YouTube, Lynn's Warriors. This is all she talks about. This is all she does. We are seeing right now in our country. Let me give you a little side note. In our country, we have, and the same with yours, porous borders, unaccompanied children pouring over the borders who are lost, sold like chattel into not prostitution, but into sex slavery. There's an open warfare on children today. It is so vile. Not Russia, not Ukraine, none of that stuff. It's what we're doing to kids around the world. It is disgusting. And you can call it satanic. I don't know what you want to call it. I'm going to go back and tell you, I saw this Bieber thing and I took this video and I went through it little by little by little. And there's something about the art of seduction. No, I don't know if you look at Bieber's case, his mother, what a horrible story. His mother was a victim of sexual abuse. He came out of nowhere. He's trying to figure out what's going on now. Have you seen Justin Bieber? He looks sallow. He looks like he's like a prisoner of war or something. He just, that could be for other reasons. I don't know. I've never met the man. But if somebody somewhere can figure this out and maybe learn from this and say, let's let everybody come forward and say, in your business, who's watching over kids and video? I mean, there's no way to do it. This is going to unearth a level of depravity that nobody could ever imagine. And I'm going to use the word, it's called evil. It's evil. And let me explain one of the things which is about justice. Let me tell you what justice is in an inverted way. Justice is the opposite of that feeling you have when that bastard who hurt you or your kid got away with it. It's the invert of that, the inversion of that. Injustice is when they say, this guy got away with this. How dare they do this? I had a friend of mine who lived in China for a while. And he says, say what you want about the Chinese. They have this interesting thing. And a friend of his, a Chinese fellow, asked him, he says, let me ask you something. He said, what would happen in your country if somebody raped your daughter? What would happen? He said, well, honestly, probably nothing. I mean, maybe some prison time. He says, you know what happens to us? Like that. Because if you hurt one of us, if you do this to it, you've incurred the wrath of us all. And we don't care about that. We don't care. We live, Shaun, in a world of meh. I don't know if it's a psychotropics. I don't know if it's the fact that maybe the geoengineering or the spraying or the Wi-Fi. Who knows? But the part of us, the arousal and the anger only seems to be triggered for stupid things like somebody parks in your parking space or somebody. But the really inherent evil, we have no ability to fight back enough on that. And we've lost that. And I hope that this isn't about Diddy, but the whole structure, the whole thing. There's always been Caligula. There's always been orgies. There's always been that stuff. But if you are a consenting adult, you were warned. Assumption of risk. If I go into a boxing ring with Mike Tyson and he brains me, I assumed the risk. I also consented to this. I can't claim negligence. But children are a different story. And that's the part they're going to want to push out of the way. It's the kids That's the story. And that changes the complexion of everything.
All right, next question is from New Me. Do you think Cassie will be a good star witness?
Well, it depends, because this is it. Roll the tape. That's all you need. In court, you have to authenticate something. Station in the record, Cassie. Cassie, do you remember this happening? Yes. Is this a true and accurate depiction of what occurred then? Yes. Good. It's authenticated. It comes into evidence. Let's watch this. Now, the question is, what do you think this has to do with anything? Now we get into relevance. What does this have to do with anything? Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that. How about a picture of Shaun, about Diddy beating a dog? What does that have to do with anything? What are the issues here? We have in this thing relevance. We always do this. That's irrelevant. Relevance is a tendency in logic to prove or disprove a material issue in fact. And a material issue is something which has bearing on the case. So relevance is something which is used. For example, if I bring up, if during the course of this, I say, how much do you weigh? Let me talk to somebody about how much you weigh, and your doctor, and he says, excuse me, who cares what he weighs? It's not material. But if weight does become material, let's say because the amount of intoxication, how much did you drink, how much do you weigh, then we can look at the means by which we use to get that information. So you can have a lot of fun. See, the best part about trials are evidence. Let me give you an example. What's hearsay? You hear it all the time. Oh, that's hearsay. Hearsay to most people is, I'm telling you something that somebody else said, right? I'm telling the, well, somebody told me this. Well, guess what? 90% of everything in trial, somebody told you something. If you have a constable or a policeman who basically says, well, Mr. Attwood confessed. Excuse me, he told you something? Yeah, hearsay. It's called a confession. We know that's good. There's all this stuff. And hearsay, here's hearsay all over the place. Hearsay is, I got to tell you this, man. This is where I know myself, and this is what's fascinating. And if people watch trials, at least American trials, and they explained it to you, you love it. That's why I love the OJ case, because we watch it from day to day. Hearsay is an out-of-court statement that is offered to prove the truth of the matter asserted. What the hell does that mean? It's an out-of-court statement. And what's wrong with not being out of court? It's not under oath. That's the first thing. We don't like bringing stuff in where you didn't say it under oath. And why am I bringing this? Why am I introducing this? I'm introducing it just to, almost in substitution of the real truth. That's hearsay with 90 million objections. I'm not going to go through this, but what I'm telling you is that when you watch TV court, you may not think the lawyers know what they're doing, but they're doing a lot of things. Let me ask you this much. In court, watch this. Direct examination. Direct examination, you're my witness. Who, what, when, where, why? That's all I can ask you. Mr. Attwood, were you there? What did you see? How did you see it? Thank you very much. Cross-examination, I get to ask leading questions. Isn't it a fact you've never been to Cincinnati? Isn't it true that you didn't know that, did you? It's great. And most lawyers don't know how to do this. You could have, I don't care who the witness is, put on anybody against Diddy. What's your name? Your old dirty bastard Attwood. Mr. Attwood, you are a rap star, yes. And if something happened to Mr. Combs here, you would rise up the ladder, wouldn't you? You would really have a feather in your cap, wouldn't you, if you put him under? Your stock would rise because now you would be the... So that goes motivation. That's called impeachment, I can say. And you wouldn't want to do anything like that, would you? Of course not. You're here out of the goodness of your heart. Did the police call you? You called them, didn't you? You volunteered this? What a citizen, for example. And pretty soon, if you get the jury to sit there and say, these people are a bunch of lying, conniving bastards, I don't know who's telling what. You know what? We have something in our country called the jury nullification prerogative, which means not guilty. I don't give a damn, not guilty. I hate you. I hate this case. I hate the prosecutor. I hate the judge. And I hate the fact that you robbed me out of 6 weeks of my life to be in this godforsaken lousy courtroom. You know what? Screw you all. Not guilty. And you can't appeal it because of the Fifth Amendment, double jeopardy. You can't appeal it. You can appeal a conviction, but you can't appeal an acquittal. And that's why you always, during the voir dire, where you pick the jury, Mr. Atwood, jury, do you have the guilt? Do you have the temerity and the intrepidity and the bravery to go back and stand up against the rest of these? If you find that this person, that the evidence has not been proved, yes, that's what I want. I want a lone juror. I want a hung jury. Hung jury is as good as a verdict. You got to do it all over again. And there's little things. So if you think that this is going to be some slam dunk because Harvey Levin on TMZ has Bow Wow or something on, you got another thing coming. Every time you put a witness on the stand, there's a chance for a minefield. I've had stuff happen that I thought, I cannot believe what just cops, people, witnesses, people not showing up, people forgetting, people being intimidated. It's very complicated. So get ready.
We've got a very serious legal question for you coming up.
As opposed to what?
Here it is. Lionel, would you prefer P. Diddy or Charles Manson as a neighbor?
Oh, I certainly Diddy, I think. But you know what? Let me explain something about Charles Manson.
Diddy.
Well, let me tell you, Charles Manson didn't kill anybody. I got to tell you a story. Have you ever read Chaos about Charles Manson? Did you ever read that book, Chaos?
Twice, and we've had the author on the channel.
Well, let me tell you what happened to me one time. I had on Vincent Bouillon. Now, this was years ago, before I was as aware of the allegations and the like that's going on. And I had him on my radio show. And he walked in, he sat down, and he was doing a book about impeaching Bush, or I don't know what it was. So and I do this a lot, right when the mic opened up, I said, Charles Manson never killed anybody. He never killed anybody, did he? So what the hell are you talking about? I thought I was being funny. I'm a ball breaker. I'm okay. Busting chops. He turned to me and he said, Adolf Hitler didn't kill anybody. He said, you're comparing him to Hitler? You think he was the Third Reich? And I'm just kind of having fun. Well, later on, I realized, oh my God, I don't know if Charles Manson killed anybody. I don't think. Now, remember, Diddy poses no threat to me, poses no threat to you. We would frighten him. See, because he could sense the power that we have. You and I are not to be trifled with. That's the last person in the world. He might actually, we might be able to control Diddy. Manson, I don't know what the hell. He gets a hold of Tex Watson, who shows up one night in another story. You see, there's one thing about these people. Any kind of predator knows their own self-survival. And they recognize the fact that they're going to never pick anybody who could hurt them. They're very good at sizing up people. That's why when kids, and I'm saying it again, my wife, Lynn's Warriors on YouTube, we talk about this. When kids are told how to act tough, they basically, it's a big sign that says, not me. You don't want me. I'm not a pushover. I don't get scared. I got a big mouth. I run right, that okay, fine. And that's what parents have to do. Let me just say this very quickly. I want everybody who right now is watching this, I want you to tell your kid one day when you're driving, you say, listen, little Shawnee, let me ask you a question. What if somebody told you, Daddy doesn't love you? What would you say? Well, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? Because you would say, my father loves me. Yes. And what if somebody were to say to you, hey, listen, we got a little secret just between you and me. What would you say? What if somebody threatens to kill little Fido the dog? What if somebody says to you that they're going to hurt mommy and me? What if somebody says, I'm going to pick you up from school and that's your mommy's good friend? Because that's why these stupid bastards on social media have said, here's my son, and this is where we live, and he lost a tooth, and he's in the first grade, and his teacher, and then some pervert degenerate says, hey, little D, you just lost a tooth, and your brother's name is Meg, and your daddy's name is Sean, and oh, yeah. Oh, I'm your friend. Why? Because they gave me all this information. Because your parents are idiots. Not you, but your parents are idiots. That's why if you're watching, please don't put pictures of your kids on video. You should see people that I know. They got their kids taking a bath. Kids it's like, what are you doing? And it's so stupid right now. Let me tell you how bad it is now to show you how stupid these bastards are. I keep saying, I don't know how they do it in your country. Because I know y'all are kind of weird. But to show you how stupid we are, at the end of the school year here I'm in the New York City, I live in New York City, but in New Jersey, and they have on their front lawn a sign that says, "Congratulations, Shaun graduated." Oh, they got a 17-year-old, 18-year-old kid named Shaun who just graduated. Thanks. Anybody else you got? Because they always have to tell you, this is where I'm going. This is where I live. This is I'm on vacation. On Facebook, I see this. We're in France. And I always write back, how long are you going to be there? Anybody at home? It's like, you're a schmuck. What are you doing? People don't think. We need to have classes to understand what predators do. And they always think they outsmart you. And I hope the next time, there's somebody who does some public service that says, listen to all you young girls and gals who want to break into it. You're going to meet another Diddy and people who are worse than Diddy, but he doesn't have as much money. Believe me, there's degenerates worse than Diddy who just don't have any money. People have to wise up. You're going into this thing voluntarily, eyes wide open. Pay attention.
All right. The serious legal question was, does Lionel think RICO will come into play to get the higher ups?
Racketeering, influence, corrupt organization, organized crime, and a criminal enterprise. That no, don't make it. That's too complicated. Racketeering, you've got to prove that there was an organization. Racketeering is what they were trying to do to Donald Trump in Georgia. Racketeering is ridiculous. No, you don't need to do this. Here's the question, though. Liability. Now, you only have liability if there's some kind of a legal connection, something that is made. For example, in our country, we have a mandatory reporters, meaning if you are a teacher, a nurse, healthcare, and you have information that indicates that a child is being abused, you have to report it or else you suffer criminal liability. I just lost my name. Why is my name? There we go.
It comes and goes, Lionel.
Let me tell you something, Atwood. I'll tell you what comes and goes as well. Your health. If you take that down again, just kidding. But there's also something we have in this country called misprision. The misprision is when you don't form the police. If you look outside the window and see your neighbor being robbed, again, I don't know. But in our country, you don't have any duty to call the police. I don't have to call it. Yeah, but the house was on fire across the street. You didn't call the fire brigade. I don't have to. I know it sounds immoral, but I'm under no duty. So we have to ask ourselves, if you're an owner of a record label and you know this is going on and you look the other way, are you somehow either aiding, abetting, counseling, procuring, hiring? Are you an accomplice? Are you a principal in the first degree? Are you allowing it to occur? Do you have a duty? That's what I want to know.
Co-conspirators, enablers. We've got a serious one here, Lionel. Have you ever considered stand-up comedy?
I do stand-up comedy. In fact, on October the 26th, I'm at, well, I don't really call it comedy. October 26th here in New York at the Cutting Room. Oh, yeah. I've done this for years. I did this, but I did, the stuff that Tucker Carlson does where he sits and he talks about, I've been doing this for years. I play bluegrass guitar. I do my stuff, and I'm an absurdist. And people will laugh, and I merely talk about what's going on in the news. It's not prototypical comedy, like, do you ever wonder why that kind of situational stuff? But it's not. It's this. See, because people you'll laugh sometimes, not out of derision, not because it's a silly topic, but I bring up the absurd part of it. It's absurd. And in order for you to understand the absurd, you need a higher level of understanding to appreciate how nuts this is. I mean, look at this. It's like they didn't know about Diddy. You didn't know this? He could have just had a sign that says, "I'm a predator." Now, if you laughed at that, it's not that that's funny. You're laughing almost at the absurdity of this. You don't need Columbo to figure this thing out. This has been going on the whole time. Why now? I never
I think
understood.
it's time to do a poll. Put a 1 in the chat, viewers, if you want Lionel to grab his guitar and bust out the old rugged iron cross.
Oh
Put a
God!
2 in the chat. Put a 2 in the chat if you'd rather
Oh
that.
my God! I've got these chairs that don't have
Do
the
you have the
old
guitar?
rugged iron cross.
Is the guitar handy, Lionel? Have you got it? Is it accessible? It's all ones. It's all ones. Pressure's on.
I got it. Honey, grab my
pressure's-
guitar real quick.
Woo!
Hang on a minute. Now this is I haven't even tuned it up yet, but that's all right. But I don't want people to mistake what I'm doing.
Here we go, viewers.
Let me see. Hang on a minute. Here we go. Here. Can you get a pick for me too, honey? Hang on, it would do it. Yeah, I'm sorry. You're making me go through this, so I've gotta do that. Don't.
Bust out.
Oh my God. Hang on. I don't know where Shaun went, but that's all right.
I'm right here.
Oh, here we go. What did you go to the John just now, or what was that about?
Camera battery change. Deliverance.
Oh, I can do that.
Deliverance. Yeah, come on. Drop them.
Well, you know, that was the best. You saw that, right?
Yep. Oh.
A little bit of that. You caught me off guard. I'm in a chair with no ability to do this. You just killed the mood.
You're such a good sport. Such a good sport. We've got a question from JJ. What does Lionel think of the Menendez brothers case reopening?
They're going to be reopened. They're going to end up being not acquitted, but they're going to be given credit for time served. They're going to be done with it because in 1989 or whatever, when this was occurring, we weren't in the position of understanding or grasping the notion of how this was. Let me ask you this question.